Hey writer friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you how to line edit your novel like a boss and stand out in the query trenches. So I am back with another video that was highly requested by you all, so thank you for doing my polls. You can always look at my community tab, and I will frequently start asking for advice on which videos you want to see so I can make sure that I'm bringing you guys the best content. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Holly. I'm a kidlit writer currently working on a YA fantasy that I will hopefully start querying soon called Project Diamond. Now, as of this video, I am currently doing line edits for Project Diamond, which is the last round of edits that you normally go through, whether you're going the trad pub or self-pub route. Now, most authors, when you hear them talk about editing, you hear them talk about the big picture developmental edits. And while this is important, I think the way to really stand out when you're in the query trenches, or to stand out when a reader is reading your book, if you are self-published or going the indie route, is to do line edits. Now, line edits are exactly as they sound. They are going line by line through your manuscript and really scrutinizing each and every word to find value in that word to make sure that you have the crispest, cleanest manuscript you can. Now, line edits are my favorite part of the editing process. So I want to know down below, what part of the process is your favorite? Do you love drafting? Do you love outlining? Those big picture developmental edits, or line edits like me? Now, I know we all love when everything is done. We love having written, we love having edited, and hopefully having published, but in the process, what's your fave? Now, if line edits are not your cup of tea, or you just want to get a little more insight into the tips and tricks that have helped me, then stick around because we're diving right in. So first things first, after you have done those big picture changes, the character arcs are good, there aren't any plot holes, you have everything that you would need to rewrite, like huge chunks, is all done. Then you can go into the line edits. So what I like to do, because it's really daunting for me to look at a whole manuscript and try to find all of the instances that I use the word smile, like that would be like a billion. So what I do to make it more manageable is I copy paste one chapter into its own separate Word document. I also have been using Google Docs lately, so that can work, just whatever your app or software of choice is. This will make it easier for you to kind of have a start and end goal, because you only have to work on that one chapter as opposed to 70,000 plus words. But it will also make it easier for you to use some apps and features that I will discuss later on in the video. And so since it's been a while, probably since you saw that first chapter, because you have been editing the whole manuscript and you probably end at the last chapter. Usually people don't work backwards, but you do you. But anyways, it has been a while, right? So I like to just first go through and read the whole chapter and just really make sure that things are tight and the way I want them before I scrutinize each and every word. Now, technically this could be considered developmental edits, but what I'm looking for is if there's any instances that I just didn't have enough description, or things just seemed a little choppy, or I just know I want to change something. So that's where I bust out the Emotion Thesaurus, the urban setting and rural setting thesauruses, and those kind of really help me to flesh things out if I feel like I need some more description. Because although I am working on description and drawing out emotions and showing and not telling in the developmental stage, it can still get missed, because especially since developmental edits are a little rough for me, I tend to try to get through them as quickly as possible, because it takes me a really long time. So it's just kind of a way to kind of safeguard that. And I don't take too long on this. It's pretty fast. I just kind of quickly go through, read through, and just see if there's anything that I missed. So after all that's done, I do what is one of my favorite parts of line edits, because there are different segments of line editing too, but this is scouring my manuscript for crutch words. Now some people call these overused words or filler words, but they're just extraneous words in your manuscript that if you take them out, they don't really change the meaning of the sentence. They're just extra, or they're passive verbs, they use adverbs, or they just make the sentence really hard to understand. So I feel like I have a really good toolbox to tackle these crutch words, and I have that on my line edits checklist, which you can find on my website in the members page. If you are a newsletter subscriber, you get access to this for free, and I also have a developmental edits checklist as well, and a beta reader questionnaire. So lots of fun goodies over there. You can subscribe down below and get access to all those goodies. But one of the websites that I note is writershelpingwriters.com. And now this is where I printed out. It's really like torn up and like old and wrinkly, but it has helped me thus far and it still works, so I'm keeping it. But it has a whole bunch of actions and words that people tend to overgeneralize, or other commonly repeated words that people use, body parts that people use over and over again that you want to omit from your manuscript to make it really strong and really crisp. So that can include words like breathe, frown, gaze, nod, step, think, across, up, down, just, only. Now for me, since I am in my line editing phase, I have found that and I knew this from the Celestial Code when I did line edits, because this is not just a Project Diamond problem, but I use just so much. And when I'm reading the sentence and it's telling me like, okay, you've used just like 5 times in this chapter, I'm like, but the just belongs there. It just does. See, it just does. I can't just say it does. So, but I have to realize this still makes sense, and maybe, okay, maybe that sentence does need the word just, but then does this sentence also need the word just? Or if I have like one paragraph I use the word just, and then the next paragraph is also when I use the word just, you know, maybe I'd want to switch that up a little bit. So it really will help you to prevent your manuscript from dragging, seeming repetitive and boring, and just really make it more concise and easier to read. Scouring through crutch words and doing line edits will also help you to find stronger verbs. And you know, they always say like the road is paved with adverbs, or the road to hell is paved with adverbs or something. So, you know, that's anything that ends in ly. But for example, if you say that the person ran quickly, well, ran quickly, what's a stronger active verb for that? Sprinted, dashed, darted. So you can just make it more dynamic and make it stronger, and that's going to help you stand out. It's going to engage the readers more. It's going to make them feel like they're part of the story, as opposed to just reading words and reading what is happening to the character. They're going to feel like the character. I'm doing this lesson less. It's also kind of like a show don't tell thing, but if you say, I see him darting down the lane, instead you could say, he darts down the lane, because that indicates that you see him, because you're stating he darts down the lane. So just little things like that will help tighten it up and give you that closer, deep point of view that agents and readers love. Now, do you guys have words that you say or use over and over again that you know is a crutch word or a filler word for you? Let me know, because I think it would be fun to share and see everyone's different like crutch words. So mine, I would say just. I've done better with smile and gaze, but yeah, I'm just gonna say just is number 1. Another trick that I read in a writing craft book, I forget which one it was, but I think it may have been the Elements of Style, but that was to pretend like every word that you're cutting, you get $1. So you're not gonna hang on to that extra just. You're gonna be like, yeah, I want that money, like give me the moolah, and you're gonna cut out anything. So in a way, it's kind of like killing your darlings, but not, oh, you're you know, cutting out this scene that you love so much, but you know it doesn't really add any value, or it's just extra fluff, or, oh, I really like this sentence, but you know, it is kind of purple prose. It's kind of like that with your line edits too. Sometimes you have to kill your darlings with a single word. Now, I also want to know too in the comments if you would like to see me do line editing in real time, because I know sometimes it can be hard to kind of just throw an example here and there and for me to just like, you know, spit out all this advice at you, but to actually see it in the moment and have me talk through it. I do have an old short story that I wrote, gosh, like 2016, I think, so super old. And, you know, I would be willing to share that and go through line edits. So if you would be interested in that, then let me know, because I will do that for you. So once I go through all the crutch words and the filler words, then I take that chapter and I throw it into the Hemingway editor app. I believe it's hemingwayapp.com, but if you type into Google the Hemingway editor app, there is an app, but you can just use the website. So I just use the website in my browser, and it helps you to catch any adverbs or use of passive voice that you may have missed while doing your line edits originally, and also helps to look for those hard to read sentences and then very hard to read sentences. Now, sometimes it can be a little tricky if you do write fantasy and you have your own words, you know, made up words, and, you know, extraneous vocabulary that like they're gonna flag, but you're like, no, this is okay. So just take note of that when you're using it. But it's another way for me to kind of catch those, the passive voice, and to catch any extra adverbs. And so another website that I also use is wordhippo.com. And I love that for looking for words that I'm like, oh, what's another word for think, or, you know, so that's another way that you can kind of broaden your horizons. If you see, oh, I've used this word so many times, like I use smile so much, but what do I use instead? And you can just type smile into wordhippo.com or thesaurus.com, and then it'll pop up grin. It will give you some ideas for you so that you don't have to take out smile. You can just replace it with another word that means the same thing. And then the second to last thing that I do once I know, okay, everything is exactly how I want it to be, I use the Grammarly app. I actually put it into the website, but I know that you can download it and have it on Google Docs or Word. Not sure about Scrivener, but I'm gonna try to get into Scrivener when I draft my next manuscript. But yeah, so that really helps make sure that you didn't miss any, you know, grammar errors. And since you were kind of changing up some words, changing up your sentences, that you didn't miss anything and cause any typos. And so once I'm done making all of the changes through Grammarly, which, you know, sometimes I'm like, no, they're wrong. So, you know, don't take everything with a grain of salt on Grammarly, because like I said, if you're writing fantasy or something, you're like, no, this sentence, it doesn't make sense when you're changing don't to doesn't. Why are they saying that? But they just don't understand what you mean. But for the most part, they are usually right. But so once I'm done with that, what I've been doing lately is I've been uploading that document to Google Docs, and then I go for a walk. And along with getting some exercise and moving my body after sitting and doing the line edits, then I get to move and I will read my manuscript out loud. This is kind of like my reward and my treat, is to read it out loud, because I get to act out the different characters' voices. You know, you kind of have a feel of what the chapter is about because you just, you know, scoured it and you wrote those words, so you can kind of get into a flow with it and make it so fun. But this is really a game changer for me, because I was able to catch things where I'm like, oh, that I wouldn't have noticed when I was doing the line edits, like one paragraph like going into another. It actually didn't make sense. Like, it was really abrupt. So I was like, oh, I need a smoother transition here. Or, oh, you know what? Like, there was a word that I did reuse, but it wasn't part of the normal filler or overused words. Or if you're just like, you know, I really tripped up and like stumbled over this sentence. Like, how can I reword it just to make it a little bit easier to read? And the other reason why I love reading my manuscript out loud is because it makes me feel good, because I am laughing and crying and enjoying myself as I'm reading it. And it reminds me that I am a good writer, and you know, that this could be something, and I could be able to share this book with the world. So I do think that it is the icing on the cake. So if you are in the developmental or line editing stage and want to make sure that your manuscript shines, I will link up in the cards and down below my editing playlist, so you can get a slew of advice to really rock those edits. All right, you guys, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.